Welcome to the Deadpan Parade, and I'm your host, Katherine Johnson. If you don't know who Katherine Johnson is, just Google her name, and I think you may be pleasantly surprised. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. Not that it matters. And as always, I like to give a kind of a little recap of my day. Today I did my usual. I slept until about noon. And then I drove Uber for a couple hours. And today I had an interesting conversation with a young man who just graduated from a local, pretty big university here in Phoenix as a mechanical engineer. And I was driving him to work as he is working as a teacher at a place that teaches young children how to code. And then that got me off on a tangent with this young man, and that's why I'm talking about it now. I'm from Generation X. And I'm bringing this up because when I graduated from college, I went into a world that was changing, to say the least. There wasn't a computer in sight when I was in college. As soon as I graduated from college, if you looked at the want ads, all you saw were they were hiring for people that had computer skills. So that gives you a little bit of a inkling where I'm headed with this. We had no internet. I mean, we had internet, but it was just at the beginning stages. There was no internet in the colleges. There wasn't a computer in sight unless you were like a math major. One of my friends was a math major, and I remember going in the lab, and they had access to emails, and that was about it. So when I graduated, there was no YouTube, there wasn't a computer in sight. But when I did graduate, and my generation was on the cusp of the transfer from, I guess you could say, analog to digital. We were on that cusp. But you would think, since when I got out of college, that my major was in graphic design. Everything we did in school was you would cut it out with scissors and an X-Acto blade. You would paint the color wheel with gouache. There was no mention of Photoshop or Illustrator. None of that. Nothing at all in sight. We were still using rapidographs and things of that nature. Pen and ink. You actually have to get the soap and the water out to clean up after you did your set assignment. And the reason I'm mentioning this is just to kind of, to give you a little bit of a clue that the educational system, to me, is a massive failure. And not to the people involved in the educating, because it's working exactly as planned, just like everything else in this world. We're being sold a bunch of crap. But when I graduated, the first thing I had to do in order to eat was I had to learn Photoshop. There was no mention of Photoshop. There was no mention of a computer while I was in school. But I guess maybe I should have been smart enough to look at the want ads, and then would realized that all of this schooling, in terms of theory and stuff, it was helpful. But in terms of actual work and utility, it was totally useless. So I had to learn how to use the computer, learn how to use Photoshop, learn how to use Illustrator, I actually bought a computer, and I had to fork over, the $900 for the software in order to get to work in a field that I went to college for. So in other words, there was no preparation in the school for what was already in this case happening. So my question is, did did the school not realize that you needed these skills in order to move forward in your career? Of course they did. But did that stop them from taking my money? Or in this case, the federal government's money? I had a Pell Grant. But I still owed money because they didn't cover, the government didn't cover everything. But the point is the educational system was nowhere in sight in terms of preparing me for the real working world. And that leads me to with this young gentleman today. Uh, he's an electrical engineer, and he's teaching people how to code. And I think they do some robotics there, and they're not people. They're young kids. 13 years old, 15 years old, and he made it clear he didn't set out to do this. It's just he needs to eat just as well. And then he also mentioned that he's having a tough time finding a job in his field because the technology sector is going through a lot of chaos right now with AI. And so that leads me to the AI revolution, and again, the failure of the educational system in this case. I mean, I looked up on Gemini today, for instance, because I had a sneaking suspicion that AI has been around way longer than just the last 2 years. It's like it's catching everybody by surprise. And guess what? That's not the case. AI, according to Gemini at least, has been around for 70 years. How many of you knew that? It's been around for 70 years. And if you think that these universities that are charging these kids $20,000 a semester to learn skills that are going to be obsolete by the time they graduate, if you think these universities don't know that, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're falling for the scam, and that's what we're dealing with here, folks. Everything that we think we know is baloney. Period. I'm old enough to have figured it out. I'm upset about it, but I'm getting over it because at this point, I honestly I don't care. I don't care anymore. At least I figured it out. There's a lot of people that go to their graves without figuring it out. At least I figured it out. But according to Gemini, AI has been around for 70 years. The term was officially coined in 1956 at the historic Dartmouth Summer Research Project. And that was widely recognized as the birth of AI as an academic field. So, now you got these kids coming into a workforce, and they're young, their parents are younger than I am, more than likely, and the parents don't know any better and the kids don't know any better. But this is something the colleges should have the responsibility to know, that this technology is going to take over. If you didn't think that they didn't realize that this technology was going to take over 70 years ago, again, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. Everything we're dealing with right now has been planned. It's been planned. And it's not been a plan to work in any of the middle class's favor and below. Period. End of subject. As long as the institutions get paid, then they're going to just keep doing what they're doing and robbing your money. And then I looked up, just as a kind of a supplement to the subject, uh, when I'm sorry, what year did the first self-driving car come out? And according to Gemini AI, Google's AI, and who knows if this is lying, but I don't think so because I've heard of this before, that there have been self-driving cars that they were remote controlled cars, and these go back as far as 1925, and this goes back to something called the technate, or the technocracy. And if you don't know about any of this stuff, look it up. The stuff we're dealing with now, and everybody getting all excited over the data centers and technology is taking over, and everyone's acting like nobody knew about it. That's a bunch of crap. Stuff's been around longer than many of us have even been alive. And if you think the universities didn't know about it, that's baloney too. So the point here is, your money. If you're going to a university and you're studying some sort of technology or you know computer coding, you're getting robbed. Period. You can figure all that stuff out on your own and save yourself $20,000 a semester. That's all I'm saying. Everything we've been, as Jordan Maxwell said. If you don't know who Jordan Maxwell is, look him up. But there's a quote that he said that always will stick with me through the rest of my life, is that nothing in this world works the way you think it does. And man, I'm almost 60 years old, and I can tell you hands down that that's absolutely 100% true. You're being lied to. So, but I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at just the clouds in the, I'm yelling at the system. But everybody falls for this stuff, and everyone goes around like a bunch of zombies thinking that everything's okay. Everything's not okay. You're being played on a massive scale. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. I ranted on that long enough, and we're going to get on to our list of, it's called Technology Sometimes Fails. And here we go. Or it's actually Technology is Great Except When, and there's some fun facts and questions mixed in here. So here we go. Technology is great except when, and this is a fun fact. Number one, I'm here because all my other bad decisions fell through. And honestly, they weren't bad decisions. I was led down paths that the people in charge should have known better to lead me down. And this is the next one. Number two is a trivia question. What year did wearing a shower cap in public become a highbrow fashion statement? God, that's just the ugliest thing I've ever seen on a human being in public. Wear it in the shower. Nobody wants to see you, out in public wearing a shower cap. I don't know where that came from. It's disgusting. But again, it's a reflection of our failing society. Congratulations, everybody. You win. Number three, technology is great except when you need somebody to actually admit it was their fault. Number four, technology is great except now it helps stupid people become stupid faster. Let me repeat that one, I stuttered. Number four, technology is great except now it helps stupid people become stupid faster. And man, that's the truth. And number five, technology is great except when it steals your identity and buys a jet ski. Number six, technology is great except when it tells me this dress really flatters your fat ass. Number 7, technology is great, except when $20,000 disappears from my checking account and the app responds with a smiley face. And by the way, that's coming too with all this AI customer service, the banks going on AI. If you ever tried to resolve an issue, even now, it's already here. It's not coming. It's going to be a real simple step from them just the banks just robbing you blind, and nobody's going to be held accountable. Oh, it's the AI fault, or you can't even talk to a person anymore. So it's nobody's fault any longer. Number 8, technology is great except when it tries killing you in your sleep. Number 9, technology is great until it starts tracking you like free range livestock. And it's doing that already. We're already there, folks. Fun fact number 10, I am less like an open book and more like an open box of cornflakes. Yeah, just so you know, thought I'd share that with everybody. Number 11, technology is great except when it holds you hostage in your house for 14 weeks and calls it protection. Man, what a short memory we all have. Number 12, technology is great except when it starts flirting with your girlfriend right in front of your wife. Number 13, today I bought peaches from a farm close to a data center. My question is, are peaches supposed to glow in the dark? Inquiring minds want to know. Number 14, I don't remember asking Amazon to deliver my package through my living room window. But possibly my wife selected expedited shipping. I'll have to ask her. And lastly, no drum roll. The drummer quit. He's in the bread line, hoping to get a basket of glow-in-the-dark peaches. Number 15, the ruling class look down on us like we're less than cattle. Personally, I see myself as more like a discounted Pop-Tart. They're coming after us, folks. Yeah, you might think I'm crazy. I'm far from crazy. This is they're coming after us. They're coming after every one of us. If your net worth is less than, in this case, with inflation, $1 billion, you're a target. So I would suggest getting ready. Get ready, at least mentally, just so you know what's coming. we're in a period of profound change. So that's all I have to say today. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at the system. And I hope you got something out of the video. I hope it made you laugh a little bit. I hope it made you think. And I hope you'll tell other people about the channel. Please like, subscribe to the channel. And I hope you have a great night. And I'll talk to you soon.